Welcome to today's LinkedIn branding workshop using PowerPoint. My name is Jesse. I'm an employment specialist. Today we are going to talk about how to use PowerPoint to create interesting profile pics, banners, and these fun profile frames. If you are interested in skipping straight to the tutorial and skipping the part about design, you can do that in the nav links below. Let's get started. So why worry about LinkedIn branding at all? Well, consider these two LinkedIn profiles. You've got the one on the left, which has no customized graphics, and you have the one on the right that has customized and very well developed branding. Which one of these two would you consider connecting with? Well, it's going to be the one on the right, because the one on the left, you're not even sure if they're using LinkedIn. You're not sure if it's even worth sending a message. Would they even receive it? So you're going to invest time in people that invest time and energy into their LinkedIn. And the statistics really back this up. So first thing to consider is that if you have a LinkedIn profile pic, you get 9 times more connection requests, 21 more profile views, 36 more messages on LinkedIn. Now, this all really helps a person stand out in today's job market, and it ultimately improves their credibility, especially when they are going for that new job. When it comes to making design choices on LinkedIn, there's 3 principal things you should at least consider: color, images, and feeling. So let's talk about color to start. When you are deciding what colors to put on your LinkedIn account, it's important to note that different colors are associated with different feelings and have different meanings behind them. So orange, for example, is associated with fresh, creative, adventurous. Red can be associated with excitement, energy, and danger. Purple, because of its traditional uses, is generally associated with royalty. It can also be associated with mysterious and interesting. Blue is associated with calm, reliable, and professional, but can also be associated with sad or depressive depending on the context. Green can be associated with nature, trustworthiness, and growth. Yellow is considered to be a happy, optimistic, and playful color. It's important to note that when you combine colors, this can change the meaning. For example, if you combined yellow with red, this has a very cheap feeling to it. You often see this on sale signs or sale tags in the supermarkets. So what are some good color combinations? Well, let's talk a little bit about complementary colors to start. Complementary colors, or contrasting colors, are colors that are on opposite ends of the color wheel. And it usually is good to have one that's more of a dominant color, and then you use the other one to accent or to make something pop within your images. And I said that they are on opposite ends of the color wheel, and they're usually comprised of a primary and a secondary color. So, example is yellow and purple. Another example is blue and orange, and green and red. Next are analogous colors. These are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. They are easy to match. They have a more natural and comfortable feel with them, such as this image of a lush green forest. You've got different types of greens, you've got slight tinges of blue, and you've got brown, and it all kind of flows together. Here is another example of analogous colors, except this uses a much more broad range of colors. You have yellows, you have oranges, and you have reds, and they all flow into one another. Next, you have monochromatic color, which is a single color, and then you have various shades and tones of the same color. This is a very simple yet dramatic color palette. So now that we've talked about the different color combinations, how do you apply this onto your LinkedIn so that it's aesthetically pleasing? Well, I'm going to give you a method called the 60-30-10 method. And this is a rough percentage breakdown of the colors as they appear on the page. So you want to have a dominant color which takes up roughly 60% of your images. You want to have a secondary color which takes up about 30, and an accent which takes up about 10. In terms of this presentation, you will notice that we have a black or dark backdrop with a blue streak across the top, and we are accenting that with white text and graphics. This also works well with analogous colors, which might appear as something like greens and a shade of blue. Again, these are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. This also works well with contrasting or complementary colors. Example might be a lot of purple with a little bit of yellow, or maybe it's green with a little bit of red. Let's talk for a second about images. In front of you on the screen, you're going to see a bunch of icons that are associated with different industries. Now, I could ask you to take a test, but I'm not even going to bother, because you can take a look at each of these images and readily associate them with a particular industry, such as the tooth with dental, mortar and pestle pharmacy, the atom image with nuclear or energy, the briefcase with business, and so forth. What I want you to take away from this is, when you are designing your LinkedIn branding, think about what images are associated with your profession. So here's a question. You're an esthetician. Should you use soft, earthy colors as part of your LinkedIn brand? Well, that depends on the company culture that you're looking to work for. For reference, an esthetician is a person who does manicures and pedicures and works on nails. And if they are looking for a job in a spa, then yes, by all means, it's a good idea to go along with soft, green, earthly colors, or even watercolors, which have a more relaxing feel to them. But if they're looking to work in, say, a beauty salon, that's going to have a drastically different feel. And you want to cater your brand towards the type of company and company culture in which you are desiring to work at. So here is how I took these design concepts and applied it to my LinkedIn professional brand. I went with a monochromatic color, specifically blue, for its professional and reliable feel. I went with an image that was related to strategy, because that is a lot of what I do, and I went with a board table in this case, because this is where lots of strategy is discussed. And overall, I wanted my LinkedIn profile to have a very simple yet elegant feel to it. Now we start the tutorial section of this workshop, and we're going to start off by talking about taking good photos. So of course, the higher quality of photo, the better. So what are some good ways that you can take some good quality photos for your LinkedIn profile? So my first suggestion is have a half decent camera, or if your phone is really good at taking photos, that can work just as well. You want to stand closer to the person that you're taking a photo of, specifically for a headshot, because you actually lose more information when you zoom in or zoom out. So the closer that you can stand to the person, the better. Additionally, I would say do not take selfies. And the reason is many selfies look a little disjointed, the angle's off, or the person moves their hand when they click the button, and it just doesn't have that professional headshot feel. So it's really good if someone else can take the photo. In terms of lighting, natural shade light is best, and not in direct sunlight. And the reason for this is if you stand in direct sunlight, you can have all kinds of shadows appear on the face if it's a really sunny day. So you want to have either a day that's really overcast, or take the photo maybe next to a building where the person's standing in shade. And finally, my last suggestion is look at the lens of the camera when the photo is being taken. I see all kinds of photos where someone's looking off to the left, off to the right, up, down, etc. And there's something to be said for photos where the person seems to be looking directly at you when it's being taken. It's got that more personal and professional feel to it. So when you're ready to start uploading photos onto LinkedIn, there's 3 things that I would keep in mind. And the first is LinkedIn accepts photos that are 400 by 400 pixels, which is a fairly generous amount for a headshot or banner. Additionally, the file size should be less than 8 megabytes. LinkedIn does not accept anything that is bigger. And in terms of file type, you want the file to be either JPEG or PNG. LinkedIn does not accept GIF files, and these are the files that change photos or they have motion graphics in them. Now we're going to jump on PowerPoint and we're going to go over the various tools that you can use in PowerPoint to create great LinkedIn photo headshots, backgrounds, and interesting custom frames.
And here we are in PowerPoint. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a custom profile pic. And the first step to doing that is to removing a background from whichever photo you desire to use for your background pic. So we're going to do a number of steps here. So the first thing we're going to do is click the picture. We're going to go up here to picture format. And we're going to crop because we want to get a nice headshot. You know, something worthwhile for our picture. And that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and complete the crop. Now we still need to remove the background. So we're going to go over here to the far left where it says remove background. So now that I'm trying to remove the background, you see there's quite a bit of areas in pink. And what pink means is that it's removed from your photo. Now, this isn't going to work because a lot of my suit is currently removed. So how we change that is go up here to the green button where it says Mark Keep Areas. And this gives us a tool where we can draw on the areas that we want to keep. Now, it doesn't quite work perfectly. As you can see, this section here under my arm is currently white from the background. So we go back up to here where it says mark areas to remove and click that. And we remove that little piece. And then we go over to, oh, wait, hang on. We still have this area that we want to take out as well. Then we go to keep changes. But it's still kind of beat up around here along the bottom. So I'm going to go up here to crop. And I'm going to crop it up just a little bit more. And that looks good. All right, so we already have a picture free of the background. Now, the next step, of course, is to create the background. So we're going to go down here to this slide. I know we already have a photo already created, but we're going to go to the Insert tab. We're going to go over to Shapes. We're going to make a square. And there we go. Now we'll put this over here. We'll get to that in just a second. We want to take some time to design this one. So I'm going to go over to Shape Format. I'm going to go to Shapes. I'm going to go down to Granulate. And I'm going to go to Other Granulations. And I'm just going to play around with the granulations for a minute. Maybe we'll get, ooh, it's kind of like nice teal one. That's kind of interesting. It doesn't quite go with my jacket. So maybe we'll go with this blue again. And we can manipulate the way that the granulation looks. Maybe something a little bit more like that. There we go. That's not a bad one. Now we'll bring the photo up to the front. And there you have it, a half-decent profile pic. Now you can either capture this with the snippet tool, or you can actually group these together. And then right-click and click Save as Picture. So there's multiple ways that you can go about creating a profile pic from this point. Next, we'll look at these custom frame backgrounds and how you can make them. These are kind of cool for special events or maybe particular times of the year, like Remembrance Day or Happy Holidays, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, just saying, or just to have a new fun look on your profile pic, or even put the name of your professional along the side there. So we're going to create one of those right now. And in this slide, we're going to go to Insert Shapes, and we're going to make circles that are 2.95 inches. Now, depending on the PowerPoint version you're using, you might have different measurements. So I just want to make that known to you. All right, insert and circle. And we're making a circle. Now, here's a trick. To get a perfect circle, you hit the shift button and it will always be the perfect circle. Otherwise, you get this kind of flimsy looking shape. All right, and oh, we're a little bit bigger than we intended in terms of size. So I just went over to shape format, and over at the end is the sizing. So we'll just make that the correct size. Wonderful. Next, we're going to go to the picture, and this picture, oh, let's bring to front, doesn't fit. Look, you got this ugly kind of line along the bottom. If I put it down here, half the photo's missing. Doesn't quite go well. Well, if you go back to picture format, over to crop, click the down arrow, you have crop to shape. You also have crop to aspect ratio, but we'll stick with crop to shape, and you can do crop circle. And if you click back on the crop, you can actually manipulate where the crop is. So we want to make sure that this thing is in line with the circle. And just a few adjustments. And there we go. So we can then bring this down and voila, perfectly in line. So let's group those together just so that we don't lose anything. Next, you're going to insert a ring. So we're going to go up here to Insert, Shapes, and look for this ring. And I'm just going to make that, but I'm going to change the color of it to black just so that we can see it a little bit better. And once again, we're going to want to make sure that it is the same size. So 2.95, we'll make that 2.95. And there you go. It's a perfect circle. Now that doesn't quite work, so we can do things like adjust the size of the circle. Now that's nice if I wanted the border to go all the way around, but if we see up here, it kind of starts and trails off. So we're going to click back on the ring. We're going to go over to Format Shape. We're going to go to Granulate Fill. And it's already adjusted to what I had previous. So I'm just going to make it black again. I'm going to make it all black so that we can see what I'm doing. And on this far one, I'm actually going to come down here to transparent and make it transparent. Now nothing's happened because it's at the far end, but I'll do the next one as well. And as you can see, the shape is starting to disappear a little. And you can adjust depending on where you place these little markers on what color stays and what goes. Next step is you go back to Format Shapes and you remove the outline because that outline will just ruin your photo a little bit. All right, and there you have it. Now we can do things like tilt it a little bit and so forth. So that's how you get the outer ring on this particular, oh, there we go. We'll move that in a little bit more. Yeah, so there's the outer ring. But now we need to get the text in there. So here's what you do. You go to Insert Shapes and Text Box. All right, text box. And we'll put that there and I'll say employment Pro. I think that's a good, fair job title for me. And we'll make it bold. And because we're going to put it on a black background, we're going to make it more contrasting. So we're going to make the text, and because we're putting it on a black background, we are going to make the text white. Okay. Well, and that's not in the correct position. We still need to make it curved, and turning this just doesn't make it curved. So we need to do a special kind of effect. We are going to do that by making our text box into a square, and we're going to use our favorite measurement, 2.95. Click on that. And it's in a square, and we're just going to make it flush with the outer portions of the ring. That's good. We're going to go over to text effects. We are going to go down to transform, and we're going to find arch down, and there you have it. And you might need to do a little bit of adjusting here of the placement, but overall, that is not too bad. And there you have it. And we'll group that together. And same thing as before, you can click the Save As Picture when you right click. All right, moving on to these wonderful looking backgrounds. We've got this one that I created for a paramedic, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our essential healthcare workers who have been working so hard during the pandemic. We really want to express our appreciation. Anyway, about this design in particular, we did, again, a bunch of transparent frames, and we had 3 separate photos related to paramedics, and we used their corporate colors. So that was one that we created for paramedic. We also created this one for Epilepsy Awareness Month. Now we're going to create this one or something very similar to it. I'm just going to show you how we went about doing that. So in terms of dimensions, it's 13 inches horizontally and 3.25 vertically. So this is 3.25 and this is 13 across. So every time I do one of these, I always start off with a shape with that dimension, and I also have the proportional circle one as well. And this creates an excellent guide for figuring out what the end product would look like. So for this one, you want to insert a photo and crop to the size that you require. So this one's already done. So I'm just going to move that up. And what we created was this nice little transition effect here. Again, we did that with Granulate. So we're going to do that again. So we're going to go to the Insert tab, and we're going to click Shapes, and we're going to put in a square. And this time we're going to do rectangle. We're not holding the Shift button down because we are not looking for a perfect square. So, and then we're going to go up to Shape Fill, Granulate. We're going to do this side one. All right, we have this now rectangle shape, and we need to do some coloring with it. So let's make this one. Let's just take a look at what the numbers here were for this one. So we've got white, and this one's got a bluish tinge to it. Interesting. But it's 100% transparent. So we're going to come down here, and we're going to remove one. We're going to make this one 100% transparent. Oh, we'll move that one over there. And we'll move that one there. We'll make it all white. And coming back up here, let's take a look here. The center one was 0%, and this one was 100% transparent. So let's take a look here. That's pretty close to it. And now we're going to want to put in some text. So we're going to go over to Insert, and we're going to input a text box. Don't click up here because it'll actually make it part of the shape. So you want to click off to another place. And this is for a project management professional. And we'll make that bold. And yeah, we'll put that up there. Let's bring a pic down so that we can see what that looks like. There you go. So that's kind of a half decent start. You can put down additional wording there. I'm not going to do that for this example because you can already see. And then you can adjust the size of this as well. You can make it bold, not bold. Last bit though is this lovely icon here. And how did we get that? So we're going to go up to Insert, and we're going to go to Icons. And we're going to look for Process. And we should see it here. And here it is, inserting. So we'll put that here. Now, interestingly enough, we see that one of these is a little bit bigger than the other, and the other one's gray. So how do we do that? So let's make this a little bit bigger, and we go up here to Graphic Formats, and we go Convert to Shapes, and that makes each of these its own shape. And with that, you can now adjust, make it a little bit longer, and we can also go to Input Text, so PMP. And although if you're going to do this, you should change the color so that we can see it as well. So, and that didn't quite work. There we go. Boom. You can just play around with the size and so forth. And there you have it. So that is how you can go about making a custom background. Again, you can do the, once you group them together, you can do the right click and go down to Save Picture, or you can use the snippet tool. But that is essentially how you can go about getting customized backgrounds like this.
And thank you for watching today's presentation. My name is Jesse, and again, I am an employment specialist. If you are interested in finding where I got the stock photos in this workshop and for my LinkedIn account, then please check out RawPixel. No, I am not sponsored by them. I do not have any affiliate links, but I am a very satisfied customer of theirs, so please feel free to check them out. If you are interested in seeing other workshops that might help you with your LinkedIn account, mainly the resume T-bar method video, then you can check that out here and in the video description below. We'll catch you next time.